Well, good morning, guy. Happy Sunday. I guess today is not one of those Sundays when we're relaxing with our families in truck and business because finally we got fed up with this nonsense. And I would like you to introduce to the person who is trying to change trucking for better. And let's see if together we can change things. I'm gonna bring to the studio Rick Santiago, and he will tell us about protest, about how it's going to be organized, and why we guys doing this. So, hi, Rick, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Let's start from introducing yourself. How you end up being in trucking business? How long you've been doing the trucking business? And why does it matter? Most of the people don't really want to do anything special on Sunday. They just want to sit on their couch and still just complain without having any actions.
You know why they want to sit on their couch? Because they can't afford to go anywhere. So that's why they sit on their couch.
So let's start. How long you been in trucking business?
I've been in the trucking business since I was 25 years, since I was 21 years old.
Okay.
I drove for 20 years. I retired from driving last year, but I have a really good understanding of this business. I own a dispatch company now, so I help struggling, men and women that are offered cheap freight, that are offered cheap rates. I get them better rates. I get them some good stuff. However, the turn of the year, ever since the administration changed, I don't want to mention any political names, but ever since the administration changed, it has nosedived. At the start of the year, you know, the rates, the market was set by JB Hunt at $2 a mile. Okay, that's from coast to coast. I know this because I've spoken to JB Hunt officials. Nobody took into account the rise of fuel at the beginning of the year, and nobody ever assumed that there would be a war that would affect America. That war that affects America, hence your fuel is astronomically high, and it's going to get higher. So yes, it's time to put a stop to this. Like I said in my video on Facebook, the drivers are tired. 3 years ago when we assembled outside the White House, we were called heroes but paid pennies on the dollar. Now we're a laughing stock in an industry that is not respected. We're overly regulated and underappreciated, underpaid. Your fuel is rising, your tolls, your IFTA, insurance, the house. Now that it's a blue wave, has passed an insurance. Progressive charges $10,000 more now.
Yeah, I know. I'm insurance agent, so I know this. For the people who get into industry, they cannot get rates lower than 19,000 a year. And it's if you have 2 years of experience and a good MVR. Most of them it's up 24 to 28,000 a year, which is ridiculous.
Mhm.
And look at the cost of the trucks in the last year. Most of the people jump into the trucking, paying 200,000 for brand new truck, overpaying for trailers, buying a dry van for 100,000 because they were hoping that the market would stay. So let's face it, we got overcapacity. We had 137,000 new entrants, people who entered the business in 2021 because of the market was high.
Right.
So this is one of the reasons. Then we had a COVID. But the thing is, no matter what happened with COVID, with the war, our own country can help us out right now with diesel, regulating diesel costs, because USA has more than enough to support our own industry. We have more than enough.
But what we're doing is we're sending it abroad.
Yeah, we're sending it abroad. And who is making money? Well, they start pushing all the electric trucks, electric cars. I understand this, but we do have resources. So, do you really think that only one day is going to help us? Doing this only on East Coast is going to change this? Because a lot of people been reaching out to me and they're like, well, I'm not taking the loads on Monday and Tuesday. Me personally, I think we need to shut down the whole country for at least 1 week.
Here's the problem that you're going to run into. I agree with you. I would like to stop. Number one, I ask your follow. Don't deliver anything to Washington D.C. Nothing, because I would like Washington D.C. to feel what the average man and woman feels every single day. They also need to feel the pinch. What's more important than that? DC doesn't care about trucking. Pete Buttigieg is the Secretary for the Department of Transportation. He has zero experience in transportation. Zero. These are, people that, hey, here, you can have this job. You can have this job. And they have a little bit of power, and they destroy trucking more and more and more. JB Hunt and Walmart and it's very important that your followers understand what's happening. JB Hunt and Walmart sat down with BNFS Railways back in the early 80s, and there was an agreement made. It's called the Quantum Act, where we're going to haul your freight on our rails at X amount of dollars, or X amount per mile, whatever it is. That act has never been revisited in over 30 years. So at what point does that become collusion? At what, if inflation is upon us, then shouldn't that act be revisited and renegotiated? Nobody wants to talk about it. It is a sealed document. That's why I am pushing for the trucks to be outside of Fox, because Fox loves investigating, and let's find out what the deal is. And so people don't think that I'm a paranoid person, or JB Hunt and Walmart share the same yard in Arkansas. What former president and presidential person who ran for president is from Arkansas? The Clintons. So please don't tell me that politics don't have anything to do with rates. It has everything to do with rates. The drivers that take the cheap freight, unfortunately, it is a free market. And some drivers just don't understand their actual operating costs. Brokers, and I'll tell you this for a fact, there are some, not many, but there are some individual brokers that take advantage of a man's dialect, that take advantage of the fact that his name is Vladimir or Rusev, and they take advantage of these guys, and hence where you speak great English. I
still have accent, and so people still try to take advantage of me because I am an immigrant, and I did come, but I've been here for more than I've been in Ukraine, for example. But still, every time they would try to take advantage of it.
Right, and they still do. They still do. And so I encourage your drivers, your owner operators, your followers, tell them no. No is a very powerful word. What we are doing today is showing the world, no, we don't want to do this no more. We cannot afford it. Everybody will starve in this country because as many MC applicants that were approved last year have went out of business this year because they can't afford to operate. You can't.
74%. So they came to business, 74% already out of business. So this rate is ridiculously high. And the problem is, like you say, it's not that we don't want to do it, but it's like running charity business. You need to have money to add, to run TQL load, to run JB Hunt load. And unfortunately, how can people do that? So they still try to do it for months and a half, because they're hoping that rates were gonna go up. Everybody was hoping, November gonna come, Black Friday. Well, Black Friday is almost here, nothing happening, right? No. Same gonna be with Christmas. So they already out of money. And why this was prolonged, I can tell you why. Because most of the people got Small Business Administration loans, and most of the people got more than they are supposed to get. So here you go. So that's why sometimes when people say, I'm still running trucking, well, you're running trucking because you've been putting the money which don't belong really to you, and you think that you're running profitable, but you already been in the minus for the last 4 or 5 months. You just don't calculate your numbers because it's easy to take money from SBA loan, but you still have to pay it back. At some point, you have to pay it back. Actually, the payment's going to start in December, November for some people. So now they are all stressed out because it's another $1,500 a month, another $2,500. Of course, some people took advantage of it, right? Some people took millions. And big mega carriers also got millions of dollars. That's why it was easier for them right now to go through this.
They're destroying the owner operators. The owner operators make up the majority of trucking. And that's what people don't understand. You see a Swift truck every 15, miles, which is fine. They do not make up the majority of trucking. The problem that we're running into is your bill collectors are still going to knock on your door every month for that truck payment, for that car note, for your electric bill. You cannot afford to operate. I've seen a couple of friends get divorced because they just can't handle the trucking is killing personal relationships where you have to stay gone 7, 8, 9 weeks. I had an owner operator say, listen, Rick, I'll stay away for 6 months. I said, no, I refuse to keep you from your family for 6 months. No, I will send you home. Florida is the absolute worst state. The absolute worst state. I see loads that are offering 60 cents a mile when your operating costs are damn well near $1.50. At one point, does that not want? I mean, you lose your mind.
Yes, you lose your
It
mind.
makes no sense. Pepsi Cola. Pepsi has 45,000-pound loads in Florida, but they're willing to pay you $1 a mile. But as soon as you walk into the supermarket, it's $3 for a 2 liter. Are you kidding me? No, there has to be balance, and I'm going to bring this all to Fox. So tell your viewers, hey, if you're in the East Coast, go, go. Let your voice be heard. Let it be known. I think you said you're from the Ukraine. On a side note, I think your people are absolutely some of the most courageous people I've ever seen. Your president is my hero. He has not abandoned his post, and I mean that. And I'm so proud of the country Ukraine. So proud. Just
Oh,
want
it
to.
got united. See, unity, that's what's going to help you. When people get united, that's why most of the viewers say, wow, you guys cannot do anything. It's been going for decades. You don't get united. But I think sometimes, and we have a newer generation, we have people who understand what's going on. And I think that now it's easier for us to get united. We just need to advocate and we just need to share it. And it's way easier. Look at the TikTok. Yesterday I posted and we had 27,000 viewers, right? Today. So now it's easier to bring kind of information to the people, but we still need to get united. That's why today, guys, please make sure if you're on East Coast, and I wish I would be closer in Chicago, and I've been talking yesterday to people who own big companies, mega carriers with 150, 200 trucks, and even them, they like, we need to start doing this in Chicago. So hopefully you guys gonna start and we can just do it. And
Does Chicago have an FMCSA headquarters? I believe it does.
oh, you know what? I'm not sure.
Surround the FMCSA in Chicago. I believe it does. And don't take no for an answer. I mean, listen, and I'm not being hypocritical. I'm not bringing up the past. However, if people can burn down businesses, loot, riot, and not be charged for anything, then a shutdown should bring no problems to anybody. Surround it, turn your key off, and don't move until you see your load boards, the rates rise dramatically. It's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah. And let's bring up, because everybody think that it's only brokers, but let's go back. The shippers, the
It's
people who shippers are not actually paying. So yes, I understand that we all blame brokers in the middle, but actually they are not getting paid as well. So the shippers, the businesses, third party who making billions of dollars on that Coca-Cola, on that toilet paper, on whatever we need, everyday essential stuff, milk, they making millions of dollars, but they don't want to pay for freight. Why? Because they can do it. They just say, well, we're not paying. And company goes, even everybody says, oh, go direct, go dedicated. Well, you go dedicated, I'm sorry, there is 40 people who also want to go dedicated, and what's happening?
they
It's
will
like,
underbid you.
and they underbid each other, because they need to understand at some point it has to be a strong no. And it has to go back to what? To operational cost. Because it's not only fuel, it's not only insurance, but also we pay more to the drivers nowadays, right? How much drivers make? They don't make anymore 42 cents per mile. They don't make 46 cents per mile. You cannot even find a driver for 65, 70 cents nowadays. And I understand because of inflation. They stay on the road. They go shower, you have to pay for shower. How much is the showers? You have to eat on the truck stop, which a price is overpriced. You go, sometimes you don't even have a parking on East Coast. So parking for the trucks, I don't know, on East Coast it's ridiculous. In Chicago we pay $350 per month, and I'm still complaining. But I know on East Coast you guys sometimes pay $600-800 per truck for only trucking, and you still have a hard time finding the truck part.
Just want to say one thing to your followers, and I think you're absolutely informed, but I also want your followers to understand brokers and truck drivers are after the same thing, money. They're 3PLs, just like you're an independent owner operator. It is their job to save as much off the load as possible because they get a commission. It is our job to get as much as possible. Are there some individual greedy brokers? Yes, there are. Sure. But for the most part, it is a free market. It is the shippers. Okay. We all, including brokers now, have to, fight for what the shipper is offering us. And it's like peanuts. Peanuts. In other words, it's the Hunger Games. Okay. That's what this is. It's the Hunger Games. We need to put a stop to it. I don't really want to get the government involved. My job is to expose the Quantum Act, because if they can renegotiate the rates, the majority of the freight starts on the rails. If we can get the rates on the rails up, then it trickles over to the owner operator, where you can get your $4.50 a mile, your $5 a mile. That's what I would like.
Because let's be realistic. We can stay here, we can go on the street, but the fuel cost is not gonna go down at the moment. Nothing they can do, it's not gonna go down, it's gonna stay the same. So what we need to push for, or at least passing the surcharge for carriers, right? Because if, for example, right now market average for, let's say, 240 for drive-in, and surcharge is 0.74. So if 74 cents per mile would be passed on to each carrier, let's say you book the load 1,000 miles, right? You got paid 2,200, let's say even 220 per mile, but you got additional $720. There you go. Now you at 3,000. Now you at $3 per mile. So this is more doable. But when do you see the fuel surcharge? When do you usually see? When they need to cover the load and they put finally, we added a fuel surcharge. Coyote does it, right? Sometimes.
Negotiated fuel surcharge. They just taken it from the rate that you initially agreed to, and they chop it down that way. It's not the proper way to do it.
But that's not the proper way to do it. So that's why when we negotiated, let's say this load is 500 miles, add me that fuel surcharge, right? Let it be, I don't care about MPG of truck, at least national average. So that would help out, so we can see the transparency, because some shippers pay that, right? When they negotiate the freight, don't they include the fuel surcharge per mile?
We don't know that, and here's why. The right to review the record of the transaction, 371.3 in your FMCSA handbook. The problem is the moment you ask for that, they blackball you.
Yeah, they blackball you, they put you on a blacklist, and they're gonna say next time you call, you ask them, well, can I see? I want to see. That's why you guys went, 2 years ago, and people were standing in Washington to have a transparency in this. And again, it is a business. It's not like I don't want brokers to make money. It is their job to go to negotiate, to take their little piece of the pie, but it has to be some kind of transparency. And right. Like you say, the moment you ask, they block you, they hang up on you. A lot of times they're like, I don't care. You're not going to take it. 20 other people going to take. And that's why, you know what? People were saying, well, you are rude, you direct, you post those TQL young boys. Well, because sometimes, believe it or not, this is like insult. They allow finid you. Nowadays, they allow finid you. And, you have at least deeper voice, so maybe sometimes those boys are a little bit scared. But you call with the accent, and it doesn't matter. I can be his mother, but he still sit there and he acts like he knows it all. And that's what hurts. Like, it gets to the point where they want us to be, loyal? They want us to still do the job, but we have no respect, no appreciation. Think about even not bothering the driver. Like, you a dispatcher, right? Accept micro-tracking, right? Yeah, you giving them a day. They still call the driver. Wow, he's sleeping. He's maybe taking a shower. He needs to rest. But doesn't anybody cares? Like, I personally have the problem with that, but they want you to be there at certain time, right? They don't know hours of service. Oh, is this hours of sleeping? Is he still driving? How is he driving? All of those transit are made by people, like you said, who look at the Google Maps and they think that they're driving their little Honda, their little BMW, sometimes when they need a team, right? So they think that we are flying. Well, it seems funny, but in the end of the day, it's not funny. And the rules are ridiculous. I mean, personally, me, well, 34-hour reset. Nowadays, to survive in America, how many jobs people have to have? 2 or 3. So 34 hours, this is nonsense. Nobody takes actually 34 hours not working when you need to support your family. Sleeping 10 hours? Well, I can understand 8, mandatory 8. 10 hours? Do you sleep 10 hours every night?
I haven't, and I'll be honest. I mean, I would drive 1,000 miles a day. You know that, and yes, you know, some people do it. Some people have to. You know, some people have to break the law to feed their family. In trucking, I'm talking about simply in trucking. They have to skate around the law. They have to unplug the ELD. I'm not stupid. Neither are you. We
we know that we have to cut the corners.
We're forced to. It's we're damned if we do. We're damned if we don't. So if we don't,
can we actually, you go to some shippers, it's a third party business. If their operations are not managed well, they're loading, unloading, and they take 4-5 hours to unload your truck, you still have to do it. How are you not going to be faking those ELD? How are you not going to be unplugging? Well, let's be realistic. Like you said, whoever is in charge of the transportation right now has no clue. Have you ever sit down and go on the road for 1 week and see what it is when you go on East Coast and it's no parking? What it is to go through the traffic, for example, in the mega cities, right? So, I mean, people making those rules, it just does not connect. But they will fine you for the audits and everything else. I am not propaganding people driving illegally. I'm not propaganding people not taking care of their equipment. You still have to be safe on the road. You have to be compliant.
You can't if you can't afford to.
Yeah, well, that's what another thing. Do you see what's happening lately in the last months and a half? Because I also write safety and compliance. I have so many inspections simply for the tires, for brakes, for other things. And when I ask my carriers, well, guys, come on, you know that safety is going to affect your scoring and they still not going to give you the loads. When they say, Alex, I simply cannot go change these tires right now. I hope next week or maybe in 2 weeks, I can go and do it. Why? Because they are not making money to survive.
Well, listen, if any of your guys are in the Northeast, specifically, you know, Easton, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, outside of Jersey, if they're power only, we are convoying in. We are staging at 5 a.m. and or 5 p.m. today, and we're probably going to take off around midnight tonight. We're going to go into New York City. We're going to surround Fox News, and you know, I appreciate you getting the word out there. I really do. People have hit me up based on your TikTok video yesterday alone. Is this true? So yes, we really, it's not for me. It's for every single man and woman who has left their family, who leaves their children to go out there and make a living. We're doing this for them.
Let me ask you this, because some people are concerned that there's going to be tickets, that's going to be police involved. So what can we tell the drivers who want to join you, but they're afraid that it's going to be they will get punished even more?
So I've done this twice before. I did this outside the White House 3 years ago, and I did it 5 years ago for Puerto Rico. Follow the traffic laws. Don't break any traffic laws. After 3 minutes, shut your truck off. You can't idle after 3 minutes. You have not broken any laws whatsoever.
Okay. So are you guys planning to be there for certain time? So you guys going to be there 5 a.m. in the morning. Is there
5 p.m. here today?
Well, 5 p.m. you guys going to start. You're going to convoy. But around 5 a.m. on Monday morning, right? That's when you're going to be surrounding the...
Shutting it down around Fox News. We're shutting it down. Fox News, ABC, CBS, the New York Times. There's a New York Times reporter that is going to document this whole thing.
Okay.
So last thing the police want to do is look stupid in front of the news cameras, and I'm sure there's going to be helicopters. Yes, if you have an American flag, show patriotism. We're not going to, be defiant. We're not going to be ugly or unruly. This is not a volatile protest, but however, we're shutting it down in New York City. New York City is a major artery to all points northeast. We're going to get our point across one way or the other, however long it takes to. There is no time frame.
Okay. So would you advise drivers who gonna join you maybe have some supply of water, some food, some sandwiches, something, maybe
If
warmer clothes?
they have it in their truck already.
I mean, I just want to make sure, I want to make sure that you guys stay there as long as we need to stay, because it's going to be harder to get to you when everything is blocked, right?
Well, that's a good thing because that means that nothing else can move too. I've already been informed that people are calling off of work left and right in New York City because they don't want to deal with the headaches of the truck drivers. One last thing for your audience. I lived in New York City for 30 years. I drove in and out of this city for 20 years in a commercial motor vehicle. People don't respect the truck drivers. They don't, okay? They're quick to cut you off because they say that that's a big payday if you get into an accident, all right? I appreciate the drivers, okay? And even though I've retired, I still deal with them every day. I book them every day. Come and help. All this does is help you. That's it. This is for you. Don't be afraid to let your voice be known. That's all I can tell you.
Well, thank you, Rick, to join us for our live, and hopefully we're gonna have more people coming and joining you today. I have a lot of people reaching out to me, so I was reinforcing the address. I was making sure that they're going, and for everybody else, lots of followers are not going to be taking freight on Monday and Tuesday for sure.
Don't deliver nothing to DC. Nothing.
Well, not just DC. We're just hoping that we're just not gonna be taking loads at least Monday and Tuesday to show what's going on. But thanks again. We're gonna go to a little break, and we're gonna be
people. God bless your people, man. I mean it. You guys are fighters, and I love it. I love it.
Thank you, Rick. We'll see you soon, and hopefully we'll see the report from. Make sure you have videos. Make sure you show us the reality of it so we can share. God bless you, and thanks for being active. Thank you for making sure that the voice of the truckers are being heard. Thank you so much. Bye. We guys gonna be back just in a little bit because I still want to reinforce you. Why do you need to understand operational cost of trucking? Why we got to this point? So after a little break, I will share the screen and we're gonna go through a little training because, as many of you know, I always want to make sure that you improve your knowledge in trucking. Hi guys, and it's me, Alex, back again. So let's talk about operational cost. Why is it so important for you as an owner of the truck, and for you as an owner operator, for you as a dispatcher, understand this? So let's go through the little simple calculator. I'm gonna share the screen, and let's see, present. We're gonna share the screen, and hopefully you guys gonna see this this calculator right here. Let me see. I'm gonna move myself. I'm gonna make myself smaller. You know what? Maybe I don't know if you can see. So first of all, let's do this scenario. And this is a real scenario for the October, right? So one of the owner operators that we actually dispatch, he has a driver. So if you guys we're grossing 30,000 with your MPG, rate per mile was 251, which is the average right now for the drive-in, and you were driven 12,000 miles, and your MPG was 7.5, and we were putting the cost per diesel 530. We all have to understand what is our operational cost per mile, CPM. See, it's 253. So what does it mean? How does it affect your trucking company? First, most of you need to understand the fixed expenses and variable expenses, right? So what goes to the fixed expenses? Well, your insurance, right? Your primary insurance, your cargo, your general for year. Then you have to divide monthly, and it's going to cost you approximately 14 cents per mile. So this is going to be different if your insurance is lower, right? So that means that this number is going to be lower. If this number is going to be lower, your cost per mile is going to be lower, so you might be making profit. What else we're going to put in the fixed expenses? Well, we're going to put the truck payment, trailer payment, parking expenses, your registration, your load boards, right? Your logbook subscription, your phone app, some office supply, tolls, maintenance, breakdown account. Look at this. You need to make sure you put your maintenance account, 15 cents per mile, your breakdowns account. You need to put another 12 cents per mile. IFTA, drug tests, safety fees, all of this adds up. You have factoring, you have dispatch fees, you have fuel cost, and you have how much you pay driver per mile. So if you do pay driver 70 cents, look at the numbers. When your truck averaged 30,000 and your rate per mile was only 251, let's see who made money. Well, factoring made money, right? They made $753. Dispatcher, if he's charging you 7%, he made money $2,100. Your truck driver, if you paying him 70 cents, make money, right? 70 cents, he made 8,400. So you as the owner of the company, look at this number. You had to add $180 to this operation. $180 per truck. And this is if you were still averaging 251 per mile as a national average. Let's switch these numbers. And let's say that instead of 250, you actually, guys, and that's a reality, you were actually averaging for the all miles only 230. So let's take 230, multiply by 12,000 miles. So we have 27,600 profit. So let's put it right here. So we're going to switch this number, 27,600. Same expenses, right? Now we at 230 per mile, right? So average MPG. Look at this. Driver still made his money. Dispatch still made their money, right? They made a little bit less. But look at this number. If you were averaging only 230 per mile, now you have to add, as an owner of this truck, $2,474 per truck. Picture if you have 3 trucks. So how much money do you have to pour into this business, right? You have to put $2,500 per truck. So you actually need to add $7,500 to break it zero of your own money. How many of you have that money saved? How many of you still have those small business loans? Not that many. Most of you running out of this. That's why we doing this, because operational cost in the last 2-3 years went up. And what is the most numbers coming from? Well, our diesel cost, because it's approximately 72 to 75 cents per mile. It depends on your MPG, right? Insurance cost was raised In the last 2 years, 38%. Equipment cost skyrocket, right? You guys used to buy trucks for 140,000, brand new trucks. Now they're 220. You used to buy trailer dry van for 60,000. Well, now it's 85 and 100,000 when you guys were buying them. So operational cost went up so much. If you are still a driver, well, hopefully you making that 70 cents. That's why people who have paid off equipment, who's still driving themselves, they still making money. But if you do have a driver, if your equipment is not paid off, or maybe it's paid off, but you putting too much into breakdowns, the breakdown is gonna also raise the cost per mile. That's why most of us cannot survive with the rates like this. Most of us cannot afford that fuel prices. And that's why we have to say no to cheap rate. We have to stay united. And please do not put your cares out of business. Dear dispatchers, you know me, I'm teaching in my classes and I'm trying to put sense into calculation, the basic calculation. Start with operational cost. Today, as a homework, all of you who have the trucks, sit down and calculate how much does it cost you to break even. What are you doing wrong? Maybe you need to switch the market, or maybe simply we need to join protest tomorrow and not to take loads on Monday, not to take loads on Tuesday, and hopefully not to take loads at least for 1 week. But only united we can do this. Well, thank you for watching, and hopefully, guys, you will be sharing. Hopefully, people on East Coast will go to Pennsylvania and will be hearing the stories. We're gonna be watching the news, and we will be supporting people who go to protest. But each of you, doesn't matter where you located, if you're gonna say no on Monday, if you're gonna say no on Tuesday, believe it or not, we can start shaking this up. And only united we can win. Love you guys, and see you soon.